Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WITV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. I love certified professional soil scientists and conservation agronomists and documentary movie stars and natural resources conservation service field agents and people from every walk of life that have discovered their reason for being on this planet. And that's why I love Ray Archuleta. He's all those things, and he's on a great, big, bold, important mission to save our planet by healing the soil. Hey, Ray, welcome to the Something Significant show.
Thank you, Matt. That's an incredible intro. I loved it. Thank you so much.
That's my pleasure. So tell our audience what you're doing these days to leave your mark of significance on the world.
Well, I think what I'm doing, just like many others, Matt, is providing leadership. Once I had this epiphany, this awakening that the soil's alive, I started getting really excited because many years into my career, I just retired in 2017 from NRCS. I saw that we were not fixing our resource problems. Water quality issues were still happening, and farmers still going broke and not being able to bring their sons and daughters into the operation. I took that personally. And until I read Ellen Savory's book on holistic management and went to Gabe Brown's ranch, a giant epiphany happened. I go, oh my gosh, you can farm without inputs and chemicals and all those pesticides and fertilizers. We can actually farm like nature does. That's what got me all excited about this movement.
That's awesome. Okay, I want you to take us back in time, all the way back to the 1950s, when the war was over and American farms were changing operations from small country farmers to huge industrial agriculture. And ads were running in newspapers and on TV and radio saying, DDT is good for me.
Oh, yeah.
So what problems did that create back then, that shift that you're trying to correct today?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up, Matt, because I think it really started way back then. That's perfect. I think you saw a detachment from the land, and I see not just farmers detached from the soil. And that's a bizarre statement to make. Farmers themselves are detached. They don't dig into that soil and have relationship. We have treated the natural system like a machine. We industrialized it. But it wasn't just the farmer, it was society as a whole. A lot of young kids started leaving the farm because even since the 1920s, you could see inputs were always high and farm income was low. Because what we were doing is we were working against the natural ecosystem, and it takes a lot of energy. Fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, those are all driven by, I call ancient sunlight, driven by heavily fertilizers, chemicals, by oil. And so there was a mass migration leaving the farms because they saw parents work very hard, but there was no income. They couldn't even support the farm. Could barely support the one family, much less a daughter and son. So many societal issues was created back in that time, in the 40s and 50s. Just had a mass migration leaving the farm.
Okay, now let's look forward 10 or 20 years or so and tell us what your efforts to draw down carbon from the atmosphere and put it into the soil could mean for our farmers and our food and our planet, and frankly, for all of humanity.
Thank you, Matt. I think sometimes we make it too complex. When I say the word carbon, Matt, most farmers would give you a blank stare in the face. Most Americans would give you a blank stare. They don't know what you're talking about, carbon.
Right.
I keep it very simple. Like Apple, they love to keep it simple. Put a living plant. They suck that carbon and turn it into this beautiful organic matter and feed microbes. Life, facilitating life. I would love to see us go into this. Let's make America green again. Let's make the planet green again. And that's simple. If we make it working for the government, if we try to make it more complex than that, even using the word carbon, you just get a shading effect from producers. They don't know what you're talking about. But if you say, make it green, put a living plant, cover the soil because it's naked. I think that's an easier message because we know that plants will fix carbon and microbes will fix it. So my whole mission, if we can get the land covered before I pass away, oh my gosh, Matt, that would be phenomenal. To drive the United States and see nothing but green during the fall and spring, it would be beautiful.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Ray. So I define significance as doing things you love in places you love with people you love and creating something of value to others.
Yeah.
It's doing and it's giving, but you can't give from an empty cup. So yes. This is about you. What are your personal practices? Physical, mental, spiritual, financial, emotional? What things do you do to increase your capacity so you can take good care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty left over to give to others?
Matt, you know what? That is such a profound, boy, you really loaded with awesome questions. Matt, one of the things for me is I've learned going down this journey, the issues we have is a spiritual problem. It's one of the things that I do is, my prayers and meditate. Those are some of the things that give me a driving force. And most people don't realize the Bible has a lot about ecology in it. So reading the Bible helps me deal with human nature, but it also teaches me about biomimicry. I tell people Job 12 is about biomimicry, mimicking life. The father of ecology says there's more ecology in the Bible than any other book.
Wow.
So that is pretty profound. So what do? I pray a lot. I try to pray a lot because I'm telling you, that's my issue. I tell people, look in the mirror, we're the problem. And this is a spiritual, cultural, emotional, economic, ecological. Do not separate them. They're all one. I
love that. You gave me goosebumps just with your answer. Now, talk a little bit about the similarity, and I think that's what you're talking with biomimicry, the similarity between my question and regenerating yourself with energy and your mission to use regenerative farming to create energy and to solve problems with our global warming, climate changing issue.
The regenerative agriculture comes from the term renewal of heart and mind. The ranch and farm will not heal until you have a renewal of the way that you see it. That is the issue. Right now, we treat the soil like dirt. We don't treat it alive. The animals, the ecosystem, every insect serves purpose. So regeneration is renewal, and it starts with the renewal of heart and mind. You cannot renew the land until there's a renewal of you, your emotion, your spirit, your heart, and the way you look at things. That's the foundation, Matt. It starts there. You know what created this movement? We teaching, using our soil demonstrations and got them to do a huge paradigm shift. That's the renewal of thought processes. It starts right there.
Yeah, very good. All right, Ray, let's take a commercial break because I want to tell everyone about 3 things.
Okay.
A brand new online course by Happy Living, how it helps people discover their purpose and then design the life they were meant to live, and how to save $100 on the enrollment fee. Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made for good people. That's why I love Happy Living's online e-course. It's an 8-week-long deep dive into you and the inspired life you want to live. The life you were put here on this earth to live. The one that you and only you can live. 8 weeks of lectures and ideas and topics and supporting materials and powerful self-improvement tools. All designed for you. All designed to help you create the tools and the power and the confidence you need to discover your purpose and to discover the life you were meant to live and to feel incredibly inspired and motivated to decide you will live your life to its fullest. It's all designed to help you create the unique and distinct philosophy of you and your inspired life. Go to happyliving.com, select our e-course, and save $100 with promo code WYTV7. And for every enrollment, I'll donate another $100 to WITV7. For $300 and about 30 hours, I promise you'll never, ever be the same again. And we're back. And this is the Something Significant show. And I'm Matt Gersper. Hey, friends, to be happy, really, truly, deeply happy, you got to find a way to find your purpose. You got to find a way to live the life you were meant to live. So join me on a journey of self-discovery with our e-course, The Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life. We're ready to begin 8 weeks of working on you and the life you were meant to live. And now back to my inspiring guest, Ray Archuleta, AKA the Soil Guy. He says, surprisingly, many farmers really don't know how the soil actually works. And that kind of reminds me of how little modern day medical doctors know about how proper nutrition works. So Ray, give us a quick overview of Soil Health Consultants and the Soil Health Academy, two organizations that you launched after retiring from the NRCS a few years ago in 2017.
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, Gabe Brown and Shane New and Dr. Alan Williams, and Dave Brandt, we did is a group of farmers. We all ranch and farm, and we all went to ag school. And what we realized, we don't like what it was being taught, what was coming out of the schools. It was very reductionist. We put nature into little pieces, but we didn't see her whole. And so we were realizing we don't have the right paradigm, the right premise. Agriculture was built on the wrong premise, Matt. It was built like the premise of we got to yield, we got to feed the world. We treated it like a machine, but there was no love and relationship. There was no forgiveness agriculture. There was no healing agriculture. At the foundation, it's about ecology. Ecology is about relationship. That's the word eco, relationship with the house. There was no relationship with it. It was no nurturing. It was about control, force, manipulate through chemistry and physics. We didn't like what was coming out of school, so we started Soil Health Academy so that people know how to relate to the natural system and how to be part of it.
Same thing happened in medicine, where we used to have a country doctor, and that country doctor looked at the whole system and treated the system. Yep. And today, treated the system, not the symptom. And today we've divided medicine all up into silos, like we've divided farming all up, right? And you're either a rancher or you're growing crops, and you're only growing a single crop, right? You're not growing multiple crops. And there's a movement in medicine that's just like your movement in farming, that is going back to functional medicine, going back to looking at the entire system. Yeah. So just give 30 seconds on that relationship between how our bodies work and how the earth works as systems.
Oh, and it's beautiful. Nature, your body is self-healing, self-organizing, self-regulating. The soil is the same way, self-healing, self-organizing, self-regulating. Bottom line, I want a doctor that wants to approach me biologically first. I'm a biological organism. Nature's the same way. Now, most of us approach it with chemical and physical. Don't misunderstand me. We may need them. If you're really sick and sometimes you need open heart surgery, sometimes you have to open it up and fix it, but then help the healing process biologically first. So it's spot on. I'm kind of a functional agronomist, if you think about it. You go to a functional doctor, I go to functional doctors. That's who I want to know.
And you mentioned opening up. So, that's dramatic when you open up to do surgery, but sometimes it's necessary. I learned something watching your movie, that we can actually plant in the ground without tilling and opening up the earth. Yeah. Can you give me 30 seconds on? I don't think most of us knew that was even possible.
The most beautiful thing that was discovered in the 1970s, what you call a no-till planter or no-till drill, where you can actually plant the seed without disrupting it. And it's kind of like imagine, how we cut pizza with this big, and you cut a pizza and it creates a line. That's what it does. It's like a giant pizza cutter. Opens a slit, drops the seed, one of the most magnificent modern things that's ever been created is a no-till
Amazing.
planter. It's
And
awesome.
the pizza thing's right, because the cheese comes back over real quick, right? And joins up and
Oh,
heals.
I love that. And see, a good aggregated soil that's got a lot of cottage cheese. There you go, cottage cheese that just goes over and covers that seed. Well, soft aggregated soil. Very
Awesome.
good, man.
Awesome. Okay, Ray, my second book's all about personal transformation. It's called Turning Inspiration into Action. And it explores the idea that big transformations and discovery of purpose often comes from devastation, addictions, disease, death, disaster. Some big crisis shakes your life.
Yeah.
But I've used a happier way and discovered my purpose in life with inspiration. So the question for you, was there a specific moment or situation when either devastation or inspiration revealed to you the purpose you were meant to live?
I think, and I love that, Matt. For me, it was desperation. We were suffering. Farmers and ranchers were losing their livelihood. And sometimes you can't have inspiration until you realize the humility part. You have to have some desperation and realize I'm failing. I need help. That's when I sought God's help, when I was failing. Sometimes God uses both. It depends on the person. But the beautiful thing, you need both. And so I learned through desperation, and then later we flow inspiration. And so both of them need it, I think.
That's interesting. So I hadn't thought about that. So, if something was happening to your child and your child was losing his or her life, you would be devastated by that, and you would do whatever it took to take care of that problem, to fix it if you possibly could. And are you saying that you saw the earth and farming and the soil that, like that child? Was that the devastation for you, seeing what was happening?
I think it became very personal for me, Matt, when I knew young people wanted to come back on the farm. And this man had 500 acres. How many acres do we need? And why was the water not clean? And we spent billions of dollars and still not getting clean. So I started asking these questions, Matt. And I took it personal. It was personal to me. And so I think it's a journey it's a journey. It doesn't stop. And you'll have all these type of epiphanies going along. And you'll have these moments of depression, but you'll have also these moments of you're just absolutely on the top of the peak. You need both.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for that downward spiral, I don't think I would have been ready for the peaks, so you need those in this journey.
Very good. And give me just a quick answer. I can't remember, but farming, with the plow and the way we're currently doing it, with the empty fields and the soil being eroded from life, creates so many dollars per acre of farming. And then I think you said in the movie that, when you do regenerative agriculture, it's not actually costing money, it's actually creating a lot more value. Yeah. Can you remind me of those ratios? Because it was pretty dramatic, as I recall.
Well, I tell farmers and ranchers, the blessing flows through you from the land to the local community. Right now, a majority of the wealth from rural America is going to the tool makers, the John Deeres, the chemical, the fertilizer. It does not go to the local community anymore. And when you do regenerative ag and you flow with the natural system, you start nurturing, you start having this relationship, all these organisms are there to work for you. So all your fertilizers, your chemicals and inputs go down. I have farmers now that do not use no more fertilizer, pesticides, fungicides, insecticide, none, zero.
Awesome.
For example, Rick Clark, he's saving $670,000 to $1 million a year on 7,000 acres. No more inputs, but it's a journey and it takes a while. And just one quick statement, Matt, because my father-in-law died at 61 years old, 61, 62. He was a chronic smoker and a functional alcoholic. Our soils are addicted. And so you don't get somebody off those chemicals right away. It's a journey, and you have to be a good physician. You have to be patient. And sometimes I see organic groups and conventional groups throwing, well, you use this chemical. Will you do this too? No. It's about love and understanding and working, transitioning people out of those systems.
It's awesome. Folks, you got to watch the film. Okay, so we've talked about capacity and purpose. And when you combine those two, the sky's the limit. But the real magic of life comes from adding the fourth element of significance, which is doing work that creates value for others. So here's my happy formula. Capacity plus purpose plus giving equals happy to the third power. That's really, truly, deeply happy. So it's not just the giving that's magical, but it's giving from living in your purpose. That's where the magic is. So Ray, tell us, how does it make you feel when you change the heart and mind of a farmer and they make the change from massive tilling, chemical using, and soil destroying practices to no tilling, regenerative, and soil loving farming? Or when just a regular old citizen like me watches your documentary and gets inspired to begin composting at my home to do my own little part to pull carbon down out of the atmosphere and put it in the soil. How does it make you feel when you're giving from living in your purpose?
Well, I'm gonna start off with the form of humility right off the top of the bat. I drop seed. God changes hearts and mind. I can't barely even change my own mind. That's a miracle in itself. I drop seed, somebody else waters. But I'm going to tell you, Matt, the people that come to our school, they're ready. They're asking for questions. The way I believe God works on both sides, he works with the recipient and he works with the messenger, and it works together in synchrony. I have done in the past that I thought I could change arrogantly try to change people. It doesn't work. I just drop seed and then they're ready. And then you watch this beautiful transformation. This mind changes. So I just drop seed and some people else waters. But at the end of the day, I got to give God the credit because this is a miracle that this is happening, Matt. I'm just going to tell you, there was a lot of enemies towards this mission, but it's a miracle.
The enemy's big business.
Yes. Yeah, big business is huge.
Yeah, that's the big challenge. And again, folks, I'm going to tell you, go watch the movie. It's called Kiss the Ground. I've watched it twice. It's amazing. It's amazing. So good stuff, Ray. Let's wrap up with a lightning round.
Okay.
I'd like to read some of my very favorite quotes, and then you respond telling us what it means to you. We can kind of peer into your brain and see how you tick. So just give us the first thing that comes to your mind. This is from comedian Aries Spears. To sustain longevity, you have to evolve.
Yes. And sustainability is like this. Regeneration is all of our soils are in a degraded state. But to sustain, you have to renew first. Then you sustain. So sustaining happens through life's renewal every day. So that's what I think about right off the top. You cannot sustain without renewal of life every day.
Very good. This is one from my past. I don't know who said it. Once you get where you want to be, you're not there anymore.
Yeah. What we've been talking about, Matt, it's a journey. Does it ever end? Absolutely not. You will spend the rest of your life learning. And the moment you say you do get to a point, you realize, oh my gosh, there's way more. Mm-hmm. You've just begun. So there's no fixed point in my mind at all.
Yeah, Billy Joel said, the more I learn, the less I know.
I totally agree with that. That's why I hate the word. That's why, Matt, I hate the word expert. I am not an expert. I'm a generalist learning.
I call it instead of expert, I say enthusiast.
I love that. That's better.
You definitely are a soil enthusiast. That much is certain.
That's for sure.
Okay, from Thoreau, go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined.
I believe in divine providence. All of us are called for a purpose and destiny, for healing and being a conduit, an ambassador on this planet for the next life. So I think once we realize what we really are supposed to be ambassadors of God himself, our life would completely change. We're supposed to be ambassadors. We all serve purpose.
Good stuff. From Hemingway, you'll like this one because you've been talking about it. It's good to have an end to journey toward, but it's the journey that matters in the end.
Yes. It's those little steps you take away. The means does matter. If it wasn't for those little soul demonstrations, if it wasn't for those going to those meetings and going through that process, how would you grow and how would you learn? It's incredibly important. The steps do matter. Every step matters.
Awesome. From Goth, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
A person that is passionate, here's my thing. I've always said, one person can make a difference. I used to think that one person couldn't make a difference and I would just be positive. It's not true. We all can make a huge difference. The butterfly effect.
Yep, 100%. Awesome. Okay, folks, now it's your turn to show a little love to our broadcast host. If you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Ray Archuleta, please donate what you can to WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. And if you'll permit me, I want to just share with the audience what Woody Harrelson said in the film. He narrated the film, Kiss the Ground. He said this about Ray and about the climate change challenges and the soil desertification that's happening all across our globe. And Woody says, for every fight that seems unwinnable, there are those who refuse to give up. That's what he said about our soil enthusiast here, Ray Archuleta.
Wow.
And Ray, I'm so very inspired by the simplicity and the power of your message in the film, Kiss the Ground, and by your expertise or enthusiasm, if you prefer, your experience and your tireless enthusiasm for soil health, and to your dedication to educating ranchers and farmers and foresters and the general public about how we really can save the earth by healing the soil. And I'm so happy that you brought your message of harnessing the regenerative power of the earth here to us today. Thank you so much for doing the important work you do to make the world a better place, and perhaps indeed to save the planet.
Thank you, Matt. And thank you, Matt, for bringing the spiritual component, which people feel uncomfortable talking about, but they shouldn't. Those are all intimately connected. Thank you for doing that, Matt.
So it's my pleasure. If you'd like to take a minute or two and share any parting remarks with our audience.
Yes. At the end of the movie, we told Josh Tickle one thing. It said, Josh, Gabe Brown and I do not want to be part of the movie if it does not bring hope. Every time I saw an environmental movie in the past, it was depressing. People shut down. They don't know what to do. And Matt and Josh listened. It gave hope. And the way he set it up, it was absolutely beautiful. And two, we told Josh, I said, Josh, give animals the glory that they deserve. Cows are not the problem. We're the problem. It's how we managed our tools, the cows, and they're part of us. And so he left a very positive end of the movie that I was very, very proud that he gave hope. He gave animals the glory they deserve. And so, yeah, go please watch the movie, because it's a movie of awareness and it's a movie about giving hope. That's what I like about that.
You also, you pulled it off without bringing politics into it. It was, it was really well done. It's not a political issue. It's a global mankind earth issue, and very, very well done.
I'm glad you liked it, Matt.
Yeah, thank you. So also I want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guests like Ray and reaching folks out there ready to create their own extraordinary lives. A special thank you to our sponsors, The Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life and Happy Living. Remember, I'll donate $100 for each and every enrollment for the entire month. So tell all your friends too. Go to happyliving.com, select our e-course, and enroll together as a group. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to websites and social media and all things Ray Archuleta. Find him, friend him, join him on his mission to save the earth by healing the soil, by donating to his nonprofits, Notill on the Plains and the Soil Health Academy, and by telling everyone you know to see his must-see documentary, Kiss the Ground. It really is an amazing film with a message you need to hear. From me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be happy. We do the Something Significant show to inspire you to live life to its fullest, to believe as I do that a better self is possible today and every day for the rest of our lives. That inspired life you've been dreaming about, I hear it calling you. It's calling you to be bold, to take action, to start moving along your path, the special one to your dream, your unique and distinctive journey, because that's where you're going to make your mark of significance on the world. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the Something Significant show.
Good job, Matt.
Thank you, Ray.
Good job. It was great.